get caught up in the insta reality of comparing your professional life to someone else's, thinking maybe that you'd be so much happier if you just had the right job that looks really cool on LinkedIn, or maybe lived in an ideal place? Well, let me tell you, you aren't alone. In this episode, I'm going to dive in pretty deep with Jamie Blair on why what looks good on paper and even living a dream life abroad might not always be what it seems to be, and how finding your real path can be equal parts scary, surprising, and absolutely necessary. Welcome to We've All Done It, the podcast for leaders who know they've screwed up and are ready to fix it fast. I'm Kimberly Benoit, author, speaker, leadership coach, and Southern girl living outside of Washington, D.C. Here's what I believe. Every leader faces challenges and makes mistakes, but you don't need years of therapy-style coaching to fix them. You need someone to help you figure out what's actually going wrong, make smart adjustments, and get back on track quickly. That's exactly what I do through one-on-one coaching, targeted skill development, and group programs. Every episode of this podcast delivers real talk about common leadership pitfalls, practical strategies for recovery, and no BS guidance to improve how you lead yourself and others every single day. Whether you're here to listen and learn, or ready to work together and make real changes, you are in the right place. Now let's get to today's episode. Hey everybody, welcome to We've All Done It. And I am excited because this is the last guest episode before we go on our summer 2026 hiatus. Well, don't worry, you're still going to get re-releases. But I'm excited because the person I'm talking to today is someone who shares my birthday. Shout out to July 24th, Leos over here. But she is somebody that I've known for quite a few years, Miss Jamie Blair. Welcome to the show, Jamie.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to end the summer with you, or end the season before the summer with you.
Oh my God. So Jamie, we're going to back up a little bit and talk about how we know each other. So we met, and I was trying to figure out, was it 4 or 5 years ago?
Probably 4. Probably like,
At least
well,
4.
Maybe it's 2026 already. It's probably 2021 or 2022.
I know, like, God, time flies, right? And well, yes, that's a whole separate conversation. So we met because you are running this amazing networking group, Goldilocks. And so we had the opportunity to connect there. You were co-founder, co-runner of it, which I really enjoyed. And as a new person coming out, running my own business, it was great to have a really comfortable space to meet. And so what were you doing at that time? So if you don't mind talking a little bit of like, what was your business at that time?
Yeah. So I've been a copywriter for the past 15 years. And for the past like 5 or 6 years, I really honed in on copywriting and messaging strategy for coaches. And my big thing was helping people talk about what they do. And so the networking group, Goldilocks, that was a really fun way to sort of put that in action and grow my network and meet people. Because sometimes we would have I did it every week for 2 years, every week. And sometimes we would have like up to 30 people. And it was a really great place because, we really encouraged people to practice talking about what they do and to practice selling their stuff. And, it wasn't just like, oh, everyone make friends. You do. But it was a great way for people to market themselves in a really fun, welcoming community.
Well, and I will say, like, as a new person coming out, it was wonderful to have kind of environment. It was very women forward, and obviously we connected. And when we realized we had the same birthday, I was like, I'm on her newsletter, and you just have an amazing personality. And there was a lot that I loved about you. But one of the things that I loved about you so much was not only were you so passionate about the work you were doing, you were good at it, right? Because I'm getting your emails, I'm seeing it. But roughly around the time I moved to DC area, which was about 3 years ago, you also took quite a leap and relocated to Malta.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that.
For those who don't know where Malta is, because a lot of people don't, it's this teeny, teeny island, tiny island. I mean, like 9 by 17 miles. And it's just south of Sicily. So right in the middle of the Mediterranean. And before I had lived in Panama for a long time, and I really loved living, living abroad, interesting. And so I moved back to Savannah, Georgia for a couple of years after COVID, like 2020 to 2022. And I really wanted to move again, really wanted to live in Europe. And that was when all the digital nomad visas were coming out. And so Malta kind of met all my requirements because English is one of the official languages. They had a great digital nomad visa. It's gorgeous and it's right in the middle of the ocean. So I decided, and then it was really expensive, and I don't know if I should do it. And then my landlord wrote me a note and said, "Hey, you could renew your lease for a year at the same price, whatever, or move in 2 months." And I thought, well, I can't move in 2 months. Like, that's crazy. And there's no backup and there's no plan B. So I was like, I have to think about it. And I was walking down the street and I thought about staying where I was for another year, which was a gorgeous place. My family's there, whatever. And it felt like something inside of me had just died. Like, I think I actually kind of crouched over on the street. I was like, I can't do this. And so I wrote a text giving up my apartment, and I just decided that it was going to work and that nothing was going to stop me. And I had no business doing that, but somehow I pulled it off. So I packed up 2 suitcases, my cat, and came and moved to a place where I had never even seen before. So it was quite an adventure, but it was also hands down the best decision I ever made.
Well, and so here's what I love about, there's several little aspects. So one, what I love is like you are living in that moment, kind of the self-employed person's dream, right? You can pick up, you can work anywhere, you can do anything. And also you were very much listening to your intuition about, you could have stayed somewhere that was safe. You could have, your family is all there, but it just didn't feel like the right choice.
Yeah. No, I will always lean into doing the thing that feels extraordinary and romantic. And, I just gravitate towards that. It doesn't always turn out like that. But like the idea of it, I just couldn't ignore it.
Well, I mean, so I think we all deserve and need a little romanticism in our lives, which is, I think, important. And so part of why I wanted to talk to you and have you on the show is this idea of, like, so up to this point in your story, because I know we're going to cover some more story, is, how sexy it looks to be an entrepreneur and to work for yourself, or quote unquote, be the boss.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because I'm a big believer in like this idea of Insta versus reality, right? And that's so far, like, so much about what your story highlights, I think, for so many people is I know so many people who immediately say, I wish I could do what she did.
Mm-hmm.
I would do that in a heartbeat. Oh my God. Like, just to have the flexibility to pack up and move to a beautiful island with my cat and make it work and be equally successful in Malta as I am in the United States. Like, it sounds like it's almost a fairy tale. Is this episode hitting a nerve? Are you facing complex people challenges and have tried leadership books, workshops, and the advice from everyone, and somehow it's still not working? Now imagine having a trusted leadership partner who understands your specific challenges and strengths. My one-on-one leadership program provides the support you need with a customized plan. If you'd like to learn more, click on the link in the show notes and book some time with me. I'll explain how it works. Now back to the show.
And I would add not only the Insta reality, but also when you're self-employed, there's always this personal brand that, and, part of my marketing was a really regular and personal email list or email,
Yeah.
like email newsletter. And so,
I love the stories about the cats and when, like, you couldn't figure things out, and it felt like it felt like we knew you. So we
Exactly.
were
And
invested in you personally as much as we were invested in you professionally.
And that is another part of the responsibility. So I'm on the outside living this absolutely awesome, extraordinary life, like I'm self-employed,
Yeah.
moving to a great place, single, like cat, like everything looks great. And what was actually happening underneath though is, yes, I was self-employed and I did have flexibility, but that flexibility meant that I moved across the world, and I think I took 2 business days off on each end.
Yeah.
I didn't even take an entire week off. I was sitting like the day after I moved here, I was sitting on the couch in my Airbnb with my laptop, like in Zoom on, and like the background's all messed up and cats biting me. And, because I had to sell a bunch of stuff to move here and while it looked great, and also, I mean, it took me like a year to the day to even make a friend, and so that, you're living this beautiful place and it feels so magical, but it's also really lonely and really hard. And you're trying to navigate that. And the business and like the networking group, I think I paused that for maybe like 3 weeks as I moved to, I mean, the thing about all the flexibility and all the adventure is you still have to hold it all together. And
Well,
you still,
the responsibility never ends.
it
And,
never ends.
and I say this not just as like, whether it's you own your own business, or I also think about when people start moving up the chain, like getting higher and higher in a leadership ladder, is that the pressure and responsibility grow exponentially with each step. And so, as sexy as a title sounds, as sexy as it may look or it may read on a piece of paper, there's some genuine, what I like to say, physical, emotional, psychological weight to all of the decisions that we make along the way. I think because that's the part, like you said, not everybody knew that. Like, not everybody, like, I can guarantee you, in my mind, I probably thought you were at the beach a lot more than you actually were. And I do run my own business. And like, I tell people all the time, I was like, I don't think there's a day off for me. Like, there's never a day that I'm not in my inbox. There's never a day I'm not thinking about it. There's never a day, because if you're not working on your business is. And so I
Exactly.
think that's part of what people in the fantasy of the Insta version of life.
Exactly. And another layer to that is, in my case, you can run away. You can like run away from home. I mean, I wasn't running away from anything. I was running to something, but you could be like, all my problems are going to be solved. And when I live in this beautiful place I want to live, when I, have like, I mean, if I told my 20-year-old self, like, oh, you're going to live on a Mediterranean island and you're going to have your own business writing for a living, be like, amazing. Like, just like, yeah, like, great. But just things are still hard, right? And so there's that extra kind of psychological pressure of, why am I not happy? Like, I should be happy. I did the thing I wanted to do. I'm doing the business I want to do. But there's something inside me that's like, and, then you have to think, am I just not grateful? Do I need to practice gratitude? Like, am I just crazy? Like, what's wrong with me that I have everything that I'm supposed to want? And I think I even wrote an email about that one day. It was like, I have everything. Like, what is wrong with me? Like, why do I feel like all this?
So where did, like, because again, like, where, the struggle is there, clearly. Is there a moment where like the struggle just, there was something that changed for you that was like, this isn't what I want? Or was there like some aha moment for you that where you're like, this needs to be different?
Yeah, after I'd been here about 2 years, and I did make friends and did actually end up having a really nice life and everything's great. But I I started feeling a lot of resistance towards my business, a lot. And I had changed so much and I had grown so much because of, the choices I'd made. No, my life had changed and my business, I wasn't the same person that started that business. And I kind of fell out of love with it and kind of started resenting. And the first thing I gave up was the networking group because I couldn't keep showing up. I felt dishonest. Like I'm showing up, everyone's excited, and I just want to I wouldn't even go into rooms. I would just wait and watch the timer. I'm like, I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to do this. I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about how to talk about what you do. I couldn't muster up the passion for it and the enthusiasm. And I am run on passion and enthusiasm. That's what gets me going. And I just kind of I quiet quit my own business in my head and everything just got, but you can't because it's how you pay your bills. And it was just this relentless struggle. And I was so unhappy and everything got harder because when you get unhappy with it, all the things you're like, okay, great, I'll do this. I'll work 7 days a week. I'll work until midnight, blah, blah, blah. You just start shutting down. And everything last spring, I guess it was about a little over a year ago, just kind of imploded. And I took a walk one day, a little morning walk, rocks, looking the Mediterranean. It's so nice. And I just sat there and started crying. And I'm not a big crier, but I was just I can't do this anymore. I just can't keep fighting this hard for something that doesn't fulfill me or light me up. And I just I didn't know how to stop, but I knew I couldn't continue. And then I was just kind of hysterical. I was like, okay, I know I'll figure this out. I have no idea how, but something will work. And I ended up considering getting a job. And I hadn't had a job since 2016 was the last time I'd had a job. And even that job, I worked for my aunt and uncle for 6 years. So I hadn't actually know if I've ever even had a resume. I had no idea how to get a job or what to say to people or no clue whatsoever. But I looked on Indeed and I was because I guess this is what you do just to see. Yeah. And I found this job that it looked like it was written exactly for me. And it was the first one I saw. And I was this is some kind of joke. It described I could have written it. A brand storyteller, copywriter, that blah, blah, blah. What? And I even wrote them an email. I was I think I wrote this ad. Oh, well, because I don't know how to talk to potential scripts. And we went through the interview process and, as we're going through it and they're offering me the job, I really had second thoughts because I felt I was a massive failure. I almost didn't take it. The job was great. It paid more than I'd been making my business. Everything, they were cool with me being in Malta. Everything was perfect. But I was almost willing to let it go because this voice in my head was oh, you're going to quit after everything you've built, after everything you've gone through, all the experience, all the, I have an entire digital course that I've made, everything, oh, so now you're a quitter. Right. And I was close to not doing it because I had that mindset that I don't quit. I don't quit things. But I decided that I was going to do it anyway and see what happened. I could always go back to my business if I wanted to, but I was going to give myself the gift of stability and the gift of calm and the gift of just taking a breath and just doing a job for a little while.
Yeah. So I want to back up for a second because I think it's so important when you talked about this idea of hitting a wall. And I think this is, I will speak personally for myself. I don't know a single self-employed individual, a service provider kind of like us that hasn't hit that same wall on a regular basis. And I've always been intrigued by the response you, right? Because your brain is already playing jokes on you to a certain extent. That whole sunk cost mentality, right? Like, I'm so far in it. I've done so much. I've accomplished these things that it's very easy to talk yourself in and out of a lot of situations. But it's fascinating because in moments where I have doubted where I am and what I'm doing, which is a natural course of anything. And I think it also applies to people in various leadership levels too, of whether or not they're cut out for whatever it is they're doing. Um, it's this idea of feeling like a failure if you choose to say, maybe I've outgrown this moment, or hey, I took a risk, I took a gamble on this thing. Um, and it's just not serving me in the way, or maybe it worked for me for a bit, but I've outgrown it. But it's that idea that immediately what we think to ourselves is if I don't stay the course or
Mm-hmm.
figure out how to make this thing successful, that I'm somehow a failure. And
Yeah.
like, because I feel like that a lot of people can resonate with that, regardless of, in a lot of aspects of life, is that we jump to that feeling of failure versus simply saying, I know more now, and where I stand now today in this, in this smart brain person that I am, that maybe it's time for another path for at least a period of time. Because I like that aspect of, I could always come, like,
Yeah.
the business isn't going to go away. You still created those things. All that stuff still exists. And case in point, you made this choice and didn't, like, you disappeared for
I
like
fell off the face of the earth.
for like a year. Sir, listen to this. She ghosted all the people for a year. And so if this was not a testament to the fact that you can make big choices and people will still show up for you, right? Because you disappeared for a year.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking throughout that time, I was like, I remember thinking, I haven't seen anything from Jamie in a while. But again, wrapped up in my own chaos of running a business. It wasn't until you sent out a newsletter, what, a
Mm-hmm.
couple months ago, and you
Mm-hmm.
basically said, hey, I did this thing. I just stopped my business and I chose to go do something else for a while. And I remembered reading that newsletter. I remembered it felt like a breath of fresh air because it was so freaking honest in a way that I don't think a lot of small businesses are ever honest, right? Because it's all about the perception that you have it together, that things are going well, even when it's not going well, like, because perception is reality. And so you have to make sure that the message is right. Um, but I love that you were just so honest about the wall that you hit, the fact that you were brave enough to try something else. And the most important thing in the message was that you were happy. Like, you were happier in this chapter than you thought you were going to be maybe a year before. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you respond to my thoughts, but I mean, that was the thing that I walked away with, is I was so happy, that you were happy and that you were
Oh,
doing
thanks.
well. But like, again, like, I just don't think many people show up and are vulnerable in the way that you were vulnerable in that moment.
You know, it's hard because um the vulnerability part is hard. And I remember that because when I wrote that email, I had the idea that I was going to relaunch my course and kind of do it because I had it, kind of do it on the side. And I'd written all the emails for the launch. That was the last email I had, right? And I was like, I don't really know how, like, I literally ghosted. It was a year to the day. I like ghosted these people for a year. And even, people who I hadn't talked to anybody for a year, and I work late, my hours. So, I mean, it's just lots of reasons, but yeah, just ghost. And I thought, does anyone hear from me? What do you, I have no idea. Like, I'm just going to put it out there. And if whatever, if I get 1,000 unsubscribes, doesn't matter. But for the vulnerability part, and then I'll tell you about the response, which I think is a good lesson. But I don't know. I've always felt both ways about the vulnerability. Like, I'm not one of those people that really likes it when everyone's complaining about how hard it is. When people are like, business is so hard, AI is taking all our jobs, the economy, the government, all the things. I know that that is 100% a reality. But I've never been one to like want to have those conversations. Like, I need to stay positive. I need to like, just because it's hard doesn't mean I can. So yes, until I did. But so I really try to, whenever I write something vulnerable, have it at least be wrapped up in a lesson or have it mean something or have like a greater instead of just. So I think when you're writing to a group, there's a lot of responsibility in being vulnerable, and you really have to think hard about what you want people to take away from it. And at this particular moment, that vulnerable moment was a year behind me. So I had a lot of time for perspective to really to be able to communicate it in the way I wanted to. And it had, a happy ending. And the way that the response I got was wild. I couldn't even believe it. I hit send and immediately the first response came in. And it was like someone who I like kind of knew, maybe from like the networking group. And then like they just kept coming in. I think maybe at the end I got like 50 or 60 responses, which was absolutely crazy. Because I was just thinking like everyone's going to be like, screw you. Like, who are you even? And so many people were so warm and so sweet. Like, I'm thinking about you, so good to see you in my inbox again. And one of the big things I kept hearing is, oh my gosh, I'm going through that too. I'm thinking about getting a job, or I'm, struggling with the idea of getting a job because there's a lot of bad attitude towards getting a job when you're an entrepreneur. And the responses I got were so heartfelt. And people were like, yeah, I feel seen. Like, yeah, this is me too. And I had no idea because we do, most people like when you're like trying to get clients because it doesn't really work when you're like, oh my God, my business is falling apart. My life's falling apart, blah, blah. Do you want to work with me? Like,
I don't know. That's a winning message if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, it's like, I'm having this breakdown. Do you need some help with your messaging? Like, no, like, that's not how things work. So you have to, kind of put up, not a facade, but you have to like, you have to keep things, or at least in my head, like, have to keep things
mindful of your presence,
yeah.
right? And what you want that to mean. But no, I mean, I think that that's the most heartwarming part. I think you were vulnerable. And again, vulnerability, I think is hard for everybody. And I think, again, the higher up you go, I think the harder vulnerability becomes is what is the right amount? How much do you let people in so that they realize that you are human? You're not an AI agent talking about AI, but you're not a robot. You're a real person. And the reality is we as people are going to make mistakes. We're going to change. What we need, what we want is going to evolve over time. And I think that that's an important message for people as well, is that not only is it okay to say, I want to do something different, to listen to your gut to tell you to try something different. But also it's okay to be vulnerable, but know what the right line is and how and what you share.
Yeah. And so as a writer, because that's what I do, one of the things that you always have to think about when you're writing, professionally is if you write for yourself, you're writing in your diary. Like, nobody has any business reading that. Like, everything you write has to be by nature for the reader. And so you have to think like, okay, it's not just like, oh, I'm going to write my experience and see what happens. You have to think like, I'm writing this for the reader because I want them to get this out of it. Like, this is the message I'm trying to get across. This is, how I want them to feel. So I think when a lot of people do vulnerability and it comes off kind of crazy, or not crazy, but it kind of comes off not how they intended. It's because it's not just like coming from a place. It's not just bearing your soul. I think the bearing your soul stuff it makes people feel a little bit like, some people love it and like, oh my God, I feel seen. Like, it definitely worked for some people, but other people find it kind of off-putting because it's not striking the right chord. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely does. So just so that we're clear, where have we landed, right? Because this email came out a couple months ago. So where is Jamie now? Like, where are we landing? How we landed this trip so far?
How we landed? Well, I had spent months preparing to relaunch my course because, again, I spent all this work. It was still great. I was really proud of it. And why not sell it? Because, passive income and, so easy to sell a course, right? Because anyone in the self-employed space has heard how easy it is to sell a course. And, oh, yeah, it's your ticket to, well, so I put so much work into relaunching it, and I write that email. The response was incredible. I'm so just invigorated by it. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this. Writing my emails, everything's great. And like, the whole process was going to be a month. It's like 2 weeks of, pre-launch stuff, 2 weeks of selling emails every day. I'm in it. And as I start going through like week 1, week 2, people are still emailing me back and I'm still excited. All those old feelings came up. And it kind of felt like getting back together with like a boyfriend who you broke up with for a good reason, and I started getting really kind of down about it. And I just deflated because though, I love the people that I work with and I love the community and, and I believed I knew in what I was doing and I knew I could help people, but it was just over. Like, I didn't want to talk about those things anymore. I didn't want to have those conversations. I didn't want to get on LinkedIn and talk about messaging and branding. I just didn't want to do it. And then I kept saying, no, but I made this thing and sunk opportunity cost. And so halfway through this launch, I'm sitting down at this little cafe, having a coffee, and I'm just like writing on my iPad, what do I actually want, you crazy person? And realized that I didn't want to move forward with it. And it just wasn't, I didn't want to go back down that road. Like, I was ready for something entirely new. And I think the biggest thing to remember about sunk opportunity costs or anything that we've put work, if it's a relationship, if it's schooling, or if it's a business, is you learn so much that you will take with you through every future experience. Like, nothing is ever lost. Even like, I was sitting like, I've been writing these emails for like 4 months. Like, what about all those weekends I spent? What about all that time? Doesn't, like, I got something from it. I learned something from it, blah, blah. And so I just, again, in the middle, I just slipped out. I just stopped. And I felt really energized by it because it gave me space. I know it sounds possibly irresponsible, but it gave me space to think about what I really want to do. Whereas if I continued with that, I would just be filling, because, I still have my full-time job, and I would be filling like every minute of my day doing something that I was just doing because it seemed like a good idea, not because my heart was in it or I wanted to learn more about the subject matter. I wanted to get into public conversations and, talk about, I lost the passion. And I think when you fall out of love with anything, you're just kind of beating a dead horse.
Well, and a few things, I try, like, so I'm about to have a big birthday, with one of the big zeros at the end. And there's been just so much reflection, right, around when I look back over the course of all the days of life I have had the privilege of, is I equate it to like a book, right? And they're all chapters in the big book. And some chapters are longer than others, but they're still all a part of just my bigger story. And so and when I look back, I don't think anything was a sunk cost, but maybe in the moment it felt bad, or it did, like the decision was hard and I belabored a decision that maybe I should have made quicker because I thought what was the right thing to do, or, I had worked so hard for this thing that I can't give up on it just yet, or like how we convince ourselves sometimes to stay in places and experiences that aren't the right ones. And I'm so grateful to have you on here because I think your story is so important. Because again, like I said, it all, like the way it starts out is like she's living the dream. And the reality was it wasn't the case. And shockingly, by making a choice that was against what most people would have thought, actually has brought you to a much happier place than anyone could have dreamed possible. And I want to inspire people as they're going to their vacation or doing whatever they're doing is because I know that's where I am in my life now, is reflecting like, what do I want next for me? What do I want next personally? What do I want next professionally? And I find your story so inspiring. I find it absolutely liberating. And I'm grateful that you're willing to share it with other people. Come on the show and be a part of it. Because I know you inspire me a great deal.
Well,
But I want to ask one more question. So, with everything that you've experienced and everything you've learned, if there's somebody who's listening, what would be your one piece of advice, or your one, like, if any of this has resonated, what is the one thing you want to leave listeners?
I think, can it be two things?
Yes. It's my show. We can do what we want.
Yeah, we love breaking the rules. Because I was thinking about this just a second ago, especially, I think, and I know you and I have talked about this, women who are high achievers and type A and go-getters, and you just want to succeed, succeed, succeed. One of the things that comes up is this the responsible thing to do?
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because when I started my business, everyone was like, is that the responsible thing to do? Because maybe you should just get a job. And then when I'm in my business and I want to leave it, I think, well, is this the responsible thing to do? When I moved to Malta, nobody thought that was the responsible thing to do. But I didn't care because I knew that was the only thing to do. And so I think when you are weighing your decisions, and if you're thinking about it from, am I being irresponsible? Responsible is very, it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And the only thing that matters is what it means to you. And my biggest, that has hurt me, but I think my biggest thing that I've learned is the biggest gift you can give yourself is self-trust. Like, self-trust has been in just betting on myself. Like, when I moved here, which was still to this day, like the hardest thing I've ever done. And I remember like being like about to leave, and I was like, okay, universe, like, if there's anyone out there who's like, I can't do this by myself. Like, I will give you everything, but you have to meet me halfway, because I only think I've got like 50% of what it's going to take to pull this off. But I just had it, and I just believed like that, like, no plan B, just trust myself. I knew that this is what I wanted to do, and nothing was going to stop. And that's when I'm evaluating my business or what I want to do next, I have ideas. I keep looking for that feeling. Like, what did I want as bad as I wanted to make this move? And when I find that, that is the next thing I'll do. Because when you find something that so fills you up and it gets you so excited that you just, it's just amazing. You'll do anything to get it. Like, and then you can, trust yourself that you're being guided in the right direction and that you can actually do it.
Oh, well, that's not inspiration. I don't know what is. And I agree with you. we as high achieving women, we are terrible, I think, at that. I think it's about we overthink ourselves and we don't actually trust ourselves as much as we should. And so I will take that as some personal homework as I go into this summer. And I just want to say thank you so much again. You were joining us from Malta. It is very late over there. So for those of you who are just listening, it is nighttime. She is doing the recording after her long workday. Just thank you so much. Thank you just for being who you are, for showing up as you show up, and for just continuing to inspire other people to go live a big and bold.
Oh, thank you so much. Now you've got me inspired. I appreciate that. This has been so much fun. And thank you for being interested in my story and letting me share it.
Thank you. And I'm sure we will meet again.
Yes, we will. Talk to you soon.
Bye. I've got 2 things before I let you go. 1, if you've ever gotten any value from the show, please leave a 5-star review. It really helps and absolutely makes my day. The second thing is if you have any thoughts you'd like to share with me, please shoot me an email at podcast@KimberlyJBenoit.com. I'd love to hear from you. All right, see you in the next episode.